Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you all took some time to network over afternoon tea. It's an ideal time to do it. So, on to our third team, and this is the team from the University of Western Australia and their faculty advisor, Daniel Skepis. Would you please make them welcome?
You have 1 minute left in your setup time. You may now commence your presentation.
Imagine that tonight you have nowhere to sleep, no roof over your head. Not only do you have to deal with the constant feelings of uncertainty and anxiety, but you're also excluded, ignored, and blamed for your situation. You live your life on the outskirts of society. You are voiceless.
Imagine that tomorrow. You're a young adult entering the workforce, and yet you don't even have the basic skills to manage your own finances. What options do you have? Soon, without knowing your limitations, you find yourself consumed in your own debt.
These are the key issues that we're tackling at Enactus UWA.
For our newest project, Unearth, we are bridging the gap between Perth's homeless and the broader community, providing a platform for expression and reducing the stigma of homelessness. We are also addressing the lack of financial literacy among young Australians through our longest running project, Finance for Life.
Good afternoon, my name's Kate.
I'm Taj.
My name's Georgie.
And I'm Taylor. Today, we are representing a like-minded community of 28 change makers from Enactus UWA.
Today, we'd like to take you on a journey and share with you the story of our newest project, Unearthed.
Last year, we presented to you Create Vision, a project that worked with Perth's homeless community to create CVs, helping our clients to become job-ready and self-confident. We partnered with Rua, a homeless day shelter in the heart of Perth CBD. But as time went on, we realised that the project was unsustainable. It was resource intensive and hard to grow in the long run.
We needed a new approach because homelessness in Australia is still a huge issue. In Western Australia alone, there are around 10,000 people experiencing homelessness. To make matters worse, over the last 10 years, the increased cost of housing means that finding accommodation is becoming more and more unaffordable, especially for those on low to moderate incomes.
But trying to find stable accommodation is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to homelessness. We decided to investigate by using a human-centred design approach because before anything else, we needed to gain an empathetic understanding of the issue at hand. And after talking to the men and women at RUA, we realised that one issue that kept coming up was this stigma that they felt about being labelled as homeless.
A study by the University of Cambridge found that 85% of respondents did not have a deep understanding of what it meant to be homeless, instead basing their preconceptions on the rough sleeper stereotype. More than half of those surveyed said that they associated the homeless community with antisocial behaviours, such as drug abuse, alcoholism and violence, providing yet another barrier for these individuals to overcome. Let's hear now from Doug, a man who previously experienced homelessness, about his thoughts on this stigma.
He's a criminal, he's a drug addict, he's an alcoholic. And so people, when they're walking by, instead of going hello or smiling at you or looking at you, it's kind of, they look the other way, but the other thing they do is they arch walk. So they're walking a straight line, oops, there's a homeless person, all of a sudden they make this big arc.
During one of our weekly visits to RUA, we learned that a small art group had formed at the shelter. And the awesome thing about this group is that it was client-driven. It was created by the people experiencing homelessness themselves. And as we started to talk with more of these clients involved in the weekly sessions, we realised that lots of them were using art as an outlet for expression, a way to share their stories.
We realised that this was our opportunity to use our marketing skills to help these artists to promote and sell their artwork. And thus, Unearthed was born. The objectives of Unearthed are twofold. Firstly, we want to provide these artists with a source of income so that they can support themselves financially. Secondly, we want to change the way that the public perceive the homeless community, to instead see them as people no different from themselves, to empathise. So, Unearthed empowers through expression, increasing understanding and reducing the stigma of homelessness, one painting at a time.
Unearthed is taking entrepreneurial action. We have developed a business model which places us as the middleman between the customer and the artist. We go on an important journey with each of our artists, which consists of 4 key stages.
First, we support our artists. As the art sessions already operate out of RUA, Unearthed provides the supplies. This includes things like pens, paper, pencils, and any other crafty bits and pieces. To keep track of these supplies, we use an online database to make sure that the process is as easy and accessible as possible. To further strengthen our connections with the artists and provide many opportunities for conversation, we make sure that some of our Unearthed volunteers attend the weekly art sessions as well.
Next, we market the art. Through exhibitions and pop-up galleries, we provide the opportunity to engage the wider community of Perth, giving the artists the recognition that they deserve. At our events, we also provide the opportunity for people to purchase the art, not only generating a source of income for the artists, but also proving to them that people value what they create.
Third, we create impact. Once a piece of art is sold, the artist receives a source of income, which thus increases their financial livelihood assets and allows us to achieve a first objective. Not only this, but the artists are also able to increase their social livelihood assets through opportunities to network with other artists and the Unearthed volunteers. Let's hear again from Doug about how receiving a source of income can lead to increased stability.
The other thing for a couple of them, it meant they could actually put money towards a bond, put money towards actually assisting in their own ability to get somewhere to live.
But Unearthed's impact is so much bigger than this. When a customer purchases a piece of art, they purchase a one-of-a-kind piece of art which comes with the background story of the artist. And And we hope by providing this background story, it invites them to look past the stigma of homelessness, achieving our second objective.
The final step in our business model is sustainability. Unearthed adds a 20% margin to the sale price of artwork, which we then reinvest back into our project. This goes towards covering the costs of art materials, the delivery of artwork, and make sure that our project is financially sustainable going into the future. The relative autonomy of the art group also means that our solution is socially sustainable. The artists attend these sessions each week due to their own passion and drive, and thus require little prompting or assistance from us to keep them interested.
Since launching in April, Unearthed has already enabled progress. In partnership with the UWA Business School, Enactus UWA organised a launch gala for Unearthed, which over 150 people attended. We exhibited 47 pieces of artwork on the night, selling 18 of these pieces from 9 of our artists and raising over $2,500 from the sale of artwork alone. We also gave people an insight into the experiences of our artists by displaying some of their biographies on the night.
Our gala generated so much interest that it was picked up by a local newspaper and got a whole page spread. It was projected to over 40,000 people beyond the attendees of the night. This allowed us to engage a wider Perth community, educating them on the stigma of homelessness and how we, as a collective, can tackle this issue together.
The artists were so grateful for the financial support that the gala provided. What they continued to mention was how much they loved the opportunity to share their individual story with the people who attended. Here's just some of the feedback we received from the artists about the night.
The amount of perfect days that you have in your life you could count on one hand, and that was one of them. It was a perfect night. I was just on a natural high, you know, just...
I was in awe. It was amazing. It was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, isn't it?
And, you know, knowing that it's now hanging on someone's wall, you know, it's huge, it's massive, it's a final achievement. It's finally saying, yes, I am an artist. What
Unearthed is also progressing to some of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals.
Firstly, we are addressing Goal 8 by creating an alternative form of employment for our artists. We provide them a source of income and a space to be able to develop their skills. More than this though, we are providing them an environment where they are contributing back to the community while having their voices heard.
We are also addressing Goal 10, reducing inequalities. We are bridging the gap between those that are excluded and those that are included in society, while simultaneously reducing income inequality.
Finally, we are addressing Goal 11. Studies have shown that when a person feels connected and a part of their community, they are less likely to engage in antisocial behaviour. So, by providing our artists a platform to be able to share their stories, we remind them that they are an important part of our community, and therefore we're building a more inclusive, safe and resilient Perth.
As Unearthed continues to grow, we hope we can have an even bigger reach, and we plan to do this in 3 ways. First, we'll expand our business model by including a subscription-based art rental service. And by allowing individuals and businesses to rent the art from the artist, will enable the artist to earn a more sustainable and ongoing income.
Secondly, we want to scale our program by starting additional art groups in other shelters and offering this opportunity to more artists. Our impact can increase significantly, further reducing the stigma of homelessness in the Perth community.
With Unearthed, we have the potential to financially, socially, and emotionally empower people experiencing homelessness. But we're part of a bigger picture. Unearthed isn't the solution to solve homelessness overnight. But together with organisations like RUA, we contribute to a thriving ecosystem, each playing an important part to impact the lives of Aussies doing it tough.
Apart from making a difference amongst Perth's homeless community, we are also committed to addressing the lack of financial literacy amongst young Australians. Today, we are proud to present to you one of Enactus Australia's longest running projects, Finance for Life.
Young people are getting left behind in Australia's financial landscape. Just over 10 years ago, financial literacy among young Australians was less than satisfactory, with 50% of them unable to understand basic financial concepts. But it's now 2017, and this is still happening. In a recent survey conducted by the OECD, it was found that Australia's performance in financial literacy was significantly below other developed countries, highlighting the decline in our students' performance in financial assessments over the past few years.
Finance for Life fills this gap by teaching young Australians critical financial concepts such as investment, risk and diversification. Knowledge is relevant today as it was when the game was first created.
Finance for Life equips high school students to deal with the financial challenges of the future by teaching them practical financial concepts. But if you were to ask a high school student if they wanted to learn about financial literacy, they'd probably tell you no. How boring. That's why we developed our online original game, which teaches such concepts in a fun, interactive and competitive way.
Since it all began, Finance for Life has empowered over 25,000 students to make better financial decisions. A recent study by the University of Wollongong found links between formal financial literacy training and improved spending habits among students. So, by empowering students with even the basic knowledge of financial concepts, we are providing them with the tools to better manage their money.
Back in 2005, there weren't many solutions on the market. However, today, there are many financial education resources out there, but Finance for Life's unique selling point remains at the way we engage our students. Instead of going through worksheets and going through pages and pages of information, we encourage friendly rivalry amongst the students' peers, combining the elements of competition with an interactive game.
We are currently working on our business model to ensure that Finance for Life can continue into the future. To do this, we decided to implement a small, pay-per-use fee charged per student. After conducting market research to gauge willingness to pay, we decided to set this at an affordable level of $2 per student, especially in order to accommodate for less financially resourced schools.
This increase in revenue decreases our need for grants and one-off payments to sustain the game. The switch from the no-pay system to the pay-per-use system utilises value-based pricing, which by simply adding a price to a good creates more value to the customer.
With the rapid changes in technology and the ever-growing number of financial products out there on the market, we want to make sure that we stay relevant. To do this, in December 2016, we started the process of redeveloping our game to include an updated interface and more financially relevant concepts for today's society. Such concepts include those of superannuation, payday loans and interest.
These concepts are important to include because a study conducted at the beginning of this year by ME Bank found that these concepts are not well known by most Australians. In fact, among the most worrying of the figures, 74% didn't really understand what a home loan comparison rate was, meaning they did not know the fees that they were paying.
Finance for Life is helping to achieve Development Goal 4 by working towards two of the goal's targets. Firstly, by increasing the number of people with the skills to be able to find sustainable employment. And secondly, by helping people acquire the tools and know-how to be able to promote sustainable development.
In the past 12 months, we have equipped 2,960 students with human livelihood assets by teaching them to better manage their money. In fact, after surveying the participants, we found that 84% of them said that they could now make better financial decisions.
But our impact reaches further than just these students. 36 teachers from rural and metropolitan WA were also empowered to introduce basic financial concepts to their students, regardless of their previous financial knowledge. These teachers join a growing pool of over 1,000 educators who have used Finance for Life as a tool in their classroom.
Moving forward, Finance for Life will create new opportunities. During the redevelopment process, we realised that Finance for Life can help more than just high school students. We have the potential to increase our impact to help those Australians that need it most.
We want to complement Unearth's work by empowering these artists with the financial tools and skills that they need to be able to manage their new source of income. We plan on doing this by tailoring Finance for Life workshops to include areas such as budgeting, goal setting and financial management. We believe that combining these elements of our projects will be able to create a more sustainable change in our community.
At Enactus UWA, we're a community of change makers using entrepreneurial action to solve the real issues that we see in Perth.
We show how action at a grassroots level can help create a more sustainable and inclusive community, helping to achieve the UN Global Goals by 2030.
With the impact we've had in just this year, we want to create a ripple effect that transforms the lives of those around us.
And as Margaret Mead reminds us, we should never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.
We'll now begin the question and answer period. Only judges may ask questions.
Just in relation to your financials, a differential there, if you like, or a shortfall, is that any particular reason, and what's the longer term projection?
So this year we did have more expenses than income, and that was because we embarked on the redevelopment process for Finance for Life, which was a significant capital outlay of around 13 grand, and that's a one-off payment. And so with our pay-per-use fee of $2, we're planning to break even in 3 years using that and recovering that money.
Hi there, this is regarding Unearthed. I was just wondering if you've had any success with people actually moving into accommodation as a result of the project.
So the project actually only has been around for about 2 months, so it's only been around for a very short period of time, but during our art gala, most of the artists receive around $200 to $300, and some of them have been able to start putting that towards accommodation. So we hope long term, as the project continues, we'll be able to help them even further so they can actually sort of retain and will get accommodation.
Hi, I'm just interested as to why you picked year 8 to 10 students for the financial planning and not year 10 to 12 students?
So for Finance for Life, we're targeting those really basic, fundamental financial literacy skills, and we believe that the earlier school kids learn about these concepts, the more, I suppose, the more potential they have in increasing their confidence in financial decision making and understanding the consequences of decisions as they move up into upper high school, because they'll have to start making some of these decisions, like they might get a credit card or a debit card, something like that. So understanding what consequences these will have, and by teaching that early, we can really foster that.
Judges, any more questions? We have one to our right.
On the $2 pay per use, I can't see that on your income for the financial report. Is that something that's coming, or is that something that's captured elsewhere?
So we will introduce the $2 per student fee once we roll out the redevelopment of the game. So that's projected to be finished around mid-November. So once we do that and we can roll that new program out to the schools, that's when we'll be implementing that price.
And how do you think the $2 cost is going to, how do you project that to impact your sign-up or your membership? So right now, with the schools that we're currently working with, it's a free service, but with the redevelopment of the game, we're adding all these new features that include the updated interface, the new concept, as well as better tools to track our impact. And the value that provides to schools, we've conducted some market research, and they have said that will provide them value, and they're happy to pay. And so we don't have any doubts that we'll be able to increase our reach with Finance for Life using that $2 fee.
Judges, any more questions?
I was just curious to understand your numbers on Finance for Life. So you've had 36 teachers this year. You may have said it, apologies. How did you get to those 36 teachers? What's your methodology to reach those teachers?
So we currently have 2 ways. So the first way is we partner with Aspire UWA, which works with disadvantaged children who might not want to come to university, so they come to UWA and we do the facilitation sessions there with their teachers. And then Finance for Life can also be remotely accessed by teachers so that they can search for it, and there's a teacher's manual so that they can completely run the game without the need for us, because it's very comprehensive in the handbook, so that they can just access it and play it that way. Yeah, online.
No more questions. So please join me in thanking University of Western Australia for their presentation.